We have plans for you, Peter Parker. You wanted to be the hero.
Need a hand?
Now you gotta pay the price.
We have the power now. We can change the world.
Then let's go catch a spider.
I was really excited to get back to it because we had a foundation that was really solid, and the journey of Peter was incredibly... each step led to the next, and that's simple filmmaking 101, of course, and in these movies sometimes that doesn't get honored, but we were lucky in this respect, and it's a moment for Spider-Man and for Peter, well, for Spider-Man, where he is owning who he is owning the gifts that he has been given, and I think it's contagious.
The first time we meet Spider-Man, he's, flying through the air. It was really about embracing that feeling of being Spider-Man, that liberating thing that we all love in some very basic, intuitive, primal way. The wish fulfillment of it. That feeling of the wind in your face and flying and swinging in like absolute total freedom and joy in taking to your webs and flying to the city. And being funny and witty and messing around with people that are bullies.
No sparkle!
There's just that sort of basic spirit that was what we tried to embrace right out of the gate.
My 5-year-old daughter, who is a fanatic when it comes to Spider-Man, she's actually having a Spider-Man birthday with the jumper where she's jumping, and I tell her, I say, hey, Daddy's gonna be in Spider-Man. For what? What could you do in Spider-Man? And I tell her I'm playing the villain, and the rest is history.
We wanted to embrace the bombastic, sort of simple bigness of the Spider-Man villains that happened in the comics. The playful part of that. And what's great about Jamie is that he can navigate this space between, and there was a real evolution between this kind of goofy character that has this, he has this comb over and he's a little bit silly, but there's a pathos to him. There's moments where he feels something real underneath that.
Heads up, watch out!
And that is the element of the character that evolves the most throughout the film.
You alright?
You're Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, costume gives it away, huh? But something pretty important, Max.
How do you know my name?
It's written on your badge. See out there!
I told my sister I want to be the first black man with a comb over in a movie. And so we accomplished that because I wanted you, the minute you see him, I want you to say, wow, here's a character. And so you always want the butterfly effect, meaning like the caterpillar is Max, who's this, nerd, pushed to the back of the room type person who meets Spider-Man and becomes a fanatic. But then he butterflies into Electro. So as an actor, that's what you always want, to be able to flex two different muscles in one film.
You guys, this is my buddy Max. I told you about Max. No one shoots at Max! You and me, okay? It's just you and me talking. Whoa, stay right there, stay right there. Just be careful with the grate because of the electricity.
I just wanted everyone to see me.
This preparation for this started when I was a kid, when I was a 3-year-old in my first Spider-Man costume, really, climbing door frames and injuring myself. And it is that childish imagination that you do need in order to fill that very big green screen behind you, or that very big Times Square sequence. But I think the work is kind of done for you when you put on the suit, because as soon as you put on the suit and you see people's response to you, even hardened American film crew members that are kind of, the Teamsters or whatever in New York, kind of can't suppress a smile when they see the red and blue and the big eyes, and it makes you giggle, and it wakes up that 3-year-old part of yourself.
I've done a fair amount of green screen work in movies that were not of the kind of Spider-Man, everything is digitally painted in scale. So I've looked at ping pong balls with an X tape to them and imagined a person to be there before. But yeah, this requires a lot of childhood imagination to come up, and that is a great challenge. You definitely do expand after acting in a world that is not existent around you. But it's like a black box theater. Just imagining your environment isn't actually that tricky. It's when you're imagining a blue electric man that it gets a little bit more challenging.
That was Mark's vision and what the CGI guys had, and I was just in front of the green screen, give him as many looks and as many you know, voices and as many things as I could, and then they would, you know, craft it. And I thought it's brilliant how you see the CGI folk, how they would come on the set and sort of point you in the right direction, so it made their life easier, you know. So it's a great matrimony of technology and thespianism.
It's been 10 years. What have you been up to?
I do some web design.
Sometimes the world they create is so hyper real that it just allows you to believe what's happening is happening in a really easy way, you know. And it's beyond anything I could imagine. Like, I have an office in the movie. Then when I was going in, I remember going in that day and being like, oh, this is my scene in my office, and I thought it would be a small office, and I get there and it's like this glass and steel structure that's the size of a football field, and it just blew my mind, you know. So on those days it's extremely helpful, and you know, it's a machine in terms of the lights and the cameras and all that, but it's a smooth operating machine, and you have time to do it. So a lot of times on a small film, it's not as well choreographed, and also you're fighting to get the shots and to make the day. And in this, it's, you know, you get to take your time, you get to explore things, and then if you don't finish what you're supposed to accomplish on that day, you just do it the next day.
You ever figure out why your parents bailed? My dad left a briefcase. That's all I got, a briefcase full of junk. Whatever, I don't know, I try not to think about it.
How's that working out for you?
Perfectly.
Nice arm.
Just all in the wrist, buddy.
Having worked with Andrew and Emma, there were just certain strengths in their characters and with them as actors that I wanted to focus on. I mean, Andrew, he has this trickster spirit that he's embraced, and I thought I could exploit that a little bit more this time around.
Action! Now! Oh my God! I spilled a hot dog cake all over. I did not that. Oh, and you too.
And Emma is so funny, and their chemistry was so magical in the first movie, and it represents the thing that is most challenging for Peter Parker, and what causes the most problems for him as Spider-Man. And he thinks he can keep those lives separate, but of course they collide eventually.
I'm coming with you.
Come on, it's too dangerous. Sorry, I love you, don't hate me.
That's the biggest draw for Mark to the movie. I mean, beyond all of the amazing action hoopla that comes with a movie like Spider-Man, I think Mark really cares about the love story and really cares about the personal relationships of Peter. So if you don't care about what's happening to Peter, if you don't care about him as a character pretty deeply, then none of the action is going to matter.
This is the maintenance closet. This is the most cliched hiding place you could have chosen. This is the stupidest hiding place.
Take us to the Bahamas of hiding places.
Listen.
You just kissed me.
How'd you like it?
I felt a little bit rushed.
The director is so chill. He almost makes you forget you're making a Spider-Man movie. You know, you feel like you're making a movie with friends, but then all of a sudden you look up and you're doing a scene with Spider-Man. So it's just like it was so cool and it was so fun, and I'm so happy that I got the opportunity.
It's a playground that dabbles in the surreal, and it's such an interesting thing to mess around with and dream about and walk through, and that's really satisfying. And then there's also you're getting to work with people of extraordinary talent, and at a level which is I never thought I'd get to. I mean, you show up to work and there's Sally Field and Jamie Foxx, and you're like, what's going on? How did this happen? And they can make anything work, and it's a really beautiful when you have a team that's working on that scale. There is something wonderfully satisfying about finishing the job.
Nice out.
You're having every version of a filmmaking experience within one movie. You have 6 months, and one day you're shooting one of those love scenes that are, you know, just a small scene that could be in a movie of any budget, and the next day you're swinging from wires on a green screen. So you're having kind of the entire catalog of filmmaking experience. I don't think there's anything you don't get to do on a Spider-Man movie.